Hello, my name is Andrew, and today we're talking about the pros and the cons of the Splay Freestyle 1.0 versus 3.0. So for a long time, the original Freestyle was one of the best affordable barefoot casual shoes. But then for the 2.0, Splay moved from Mexico to China for manufacturing. And as often happens, people felt like the shoe had changed, especially in terms of fit. I got a lot of comments saying people didn't feel the toe box was as wide, or maybe the materials weren't as comfortable. Well, I can't really comment on that because I never tried the 2.0. It seems like they fixed a lot of those problems with the Freestyle 3, and there are actually some features that I like even better than the originals. And the first change is the toe box, because even though the original was pretty wide, it did have a little bit of taper here, a little pointiness. But for the 2, it's a little bit more squared off here, which is great for anyone with a wider foot shape. And then here's what they look like side to side. You can see with the 3, a little bit wider, a little more square, and then the original, just a little more taper here. It's the same thing for the back of the shoe as well. With the original, had a little bit more narrow heel, but then the 3.0 has a nice amount of room all the way through the midfoot and the heel. Another thing I got comments about even on the 1.0 is that people just want a little more volume. You can see that it's kind of low here. So Splay added more volume in the 3.0, and it just gives more material to wrap around your foot if you have a higher arch, which is nice if you're going to wear the insole, because even though it's thin and flexible, it does take up a little extra room in the shoe. But speaking of insoles, this is actually my favorite change from the original to version 3, because the Freestyle 1.0 had the insole baked in and you couldn't remove it, which was a bummer to someone like me who's a veteran barefooter, because I like ground feel. So now you have the option to take the insole out depending on what you like and what you're doing. So like if I'm going out for a casual walk and I don't really need the extra padding, it just adds more sensitivity around the shoe, which makes it flow a little bit smoother and just feel more like you're completely barefoot. But then if you're going to be doing something with more impact like skateboarding or parkour, it is nice to have the option to put the insole back in and just get a little bit extra padding. In terms of design, I always love the flat cotton laces on the original Freestyle, but if you look closely, you can see the laces aren't quite the same as the canvas material of the shoe, which is fine and never bothered me, but I think it is cool that on the 3.0 they pretty much match it perfectly. You also get a set of elastic laces of the 3.0, which is nice if you want to turn it into a slip-on shoe. As far as the collar goes here, I always liked that the original had some padding, and the 3.0 is pretty much the same, but it feels like it has a little bit of extra puffiness on the inside, which is nice. And it also holds your heel a little bit better on the back, you know, like if you're skateboarding or parkour or anything where you could slip up and down. And then in the back, they've replaced the logo tab. So the original had a white tab, whereas version 3 has a more subtle tan, which kind of matches the sole of the shoe. And for the sole, it's still the same thickness. I like the original. I think that these triangles add a good amount of flexibility, even though it's medium thick. But the 1.0 did feel slightly firm on roads. And from what I can feel, the 3.0 has a little bit softer feeling rubber. It's not a huge difference, but it flexes a bit more easily than the original. Feels slightly lighter as well. Some of that's probably coming from the fact that I've taken the insole out of the 3.0. In general though, I think both versions have a really good grippy rubber. I don't feel any real major change with the 3.0 on that front. And I still think Splay's triangle lug pattern is one of the best if you need both agility and protection for doing things like parkour, where you've got some rubbing, you've got some hard landings, but then you also need lots of agility and sensitivity as well. That said, it is a barefoot shoe, so it's not as thick as something like Vans, and if you do a lot of rubbing, a lot of twisting and scuffing, it is going to wear down faster than a real skate shoe. Overall though, I think Splay did a great job updating the Freestyle and fixing some of the sizing and fit issues that they had with the 2.0. And really the only thing I would change about this shoe is maybe adding a stitch sole, but stitching is more expensive, so it could add $10 to $20 to the shoe. And for some people that might move it out of the budget category, which should be unfortunate because there aren't a lot of barefoot shoes that are affordable and well built and use natural materials, you know, like canvas and cotton laces. But one trick I've learned over the years after having lots of barefoot shoes with glued soles is that if you do ever have any separation, you can use this product called shoe goo, and essentially you just put it in a small squeeze and then lightly clamp it for 24 hours and you're good to go. So yeah, that's an overview of the Splay Freestyle 1.0 versus 3.0, but if you'd like to support the channel, you can shop with the referral links down below. Browse and filter more products with the shoe finder tool at my website barefootwear.org, or watch my zero drop transition video to learn more about barefooting. Finally, if you have a question about the Splay Freestyle or about barefoot shoes in general, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Peace.